situation in Serekunda has stabilized, but we're not out of the woods yet. The swift actions of officials have improved city services and improved traffic. More people are cycling than ever, but it is nowhere near what the mayor dreamed of. There is a renewed sense of optimism in the residents of Serekunda, and more major changes are on the way. With full coffers, the city is planning several major interchange upgrades, bringing more work to the region. The local industries are investing as they too will benefit from reduced traffic. More people are flocking to the city as the boom continues, but government officials know that resource booms can have an abrupt end. They must prepare and diversify. In order to attract more investment beyond the resource boom, officials believe the environment must be cleaned up. A major wetland restoration project is underway, and the mayor hopes that increased investment in education and tourism will create a sustainable future for this booming city. Welcome back to the city of Serekunda. I'm Poplar Ponderosa, and this is part 2 of Boomtown Bikes. In part 1, we took on a variation of the City Planner Plays Just Bikes Challenge. If you haven't seen it yet, you can follow the link in the top right corner now. In this video, we will be continuing the Boomtown Africa scenario by Teddy Radko and see if we can complete the objectives without triggering any of the losing conditions. Our main objectives in this video are grow the population, improve traffic flow by increasing the percentage of cyclists, upgrading highway interchanges, and rerouting industrial traffic. And finally, remediate the wetland. Let's have a quick look at our progress so far. We need a population over 50,000 and are currently just under 33,000. Our traffic flow is fluctuating but needs to be over 85%. And we've already paid off all our loans. As a reminder, we lose if population falls under 25,000, 250 game weeks are played, or we have less than negative 50,000 money. I'm not too concerned about finances at the moment, and I think we can keep up steady population growth. Hopefully we can achieve the population goal before 250 game weeks pass. I'm not too worried about population decline now that city services have improved and land values have stabilized. Since I'm not limited to the 1 hour challenge anymore, I'll take a bit more time with the road networks. For this, I'll be using the following mods: Network Anarchy, Network Multitool, Node Controller, and Move It. Note that I'm still not using TMPE as I want to beat the 85% traffic goal without it. It would be nice to use the lane connectors, but I'll make it work. The last goal is not a scenario objective, but more of a personal goal. I want to remediate the wetland. I'll be continuing our cleanup efforts and monitoring the progress as we go. Alright, let's get into it. You can ignore the timer in the top right corner. I kept resetting the 1 hour timer from the challenge to see how quickly I could beat this scenario. We need to grow the population quickly, so I'm going to finish up this neighborhood, and it doesn't need to be pretty, but we'll include all our basic district services and move on. Then, I moved over to this other area and built another neighborhood. I added a few parks to boost land values and added another university. This probably isn't the best location for a major hospital for now, but I'll leave it. I continued to upgrade the streets with bike lanes. It's not very realistic, but I'm going crazy with it since I'm trying to maximize the number of cyclists. I want to provide as little vehicle parking as possible and as many cycling route options as possible in order to encourage cycling. Back in part 1, I hastily built the bypass and will be upgrading it in 2 phases in part 2. This will alleviate traffic pressure through the city. First, I 4-laned the bypass, and then later I actually separated it into 2 one-way networks. I downgraded the highway through the city to a major arterial, but I'm still having traffic issues as we get to the roundabouts. I have an idea of how to reduce traffic through this area even further, and we'll get to that shortly. For now, let's just make these roundabouts a little more efficient. Now let's have a look at the major interchange improvements. First up, I continued to work on the clover stack and make some improvements to this interchange, as it doesn't look great or function too well. This is what it looks like now. Let's put some work into it and see how it turns out. And this is what it looks like now. Next is a very important interchange. It connects the Gambia Estuary Bridge to the bypass. It also connects the city and the port and cargo area to the highway. First, I'm going to make direct connections between the bypass and the bridge. Then, I'll connect the port to the city and make connections between all possible movements. The result resembles a little bit of a spaghetti monster, but it works and I'm happy with it. Next, this roundabout here connects the highway to the beach district. I upgraded this to a typical trumpet interchange. This ends up turning this whole district into a cul-de-sac, so it's not great from a reality point of view, but I'm okay with it for now within the game. This diamond was built in part 1. It doesn't look that great, so I made some minor adjustments, and here's what it looks like now. And lastly, despite upgrades to the capacity and lane configuration of the roundabouts, I was still having traffic issues. I realized much of the industrial traffic needed to use the main arterial through the city. And then I noticed there was an opportunity created by the wetland bypass. So I constructed this semi-directional T interchange, or flyover, to reroute industrial traffic and some downtown traffic. This took pressure off the major arterial and really helped traffic flow through the city. I also think it looks pretty good with its long sweeping ramps. Okay, with all the interchange improvements complete, let's check in on the wetland. I wanted to continue the wetland remediation that began in part 1. I added lots of freshwater outlets and floating garbage collectors. It took a bit of management moving outlets and collectors around, but I mainly just needed to wait. And look at that. It's fantastic, pristine wetland. Even some of the residents that originally opposed the bypass are happy to drive along and see how this part of the city has been cleaned up. And we've finally beaten the scenario. Or have we? There seems to be some sort of glitch as we're actually 5,000 sims short of the population goal. So let's implement some more targeted high-density residential and just wait it out. Okay, there we go. Population is up and traffic flow is still above 85%. I think we can officially say we've beaten the scenario. Let's also have a look at how many cyclists are now in the city. With 4,300 cyclists and a population of 53,000, we have just over 8% of the population cycling. This is a major success. This was a fun scenario, and I loved the challenge. I want to give a big thank you to Teddy for creating the scenario and supporting my crazy idea. I also want to thank City Planner Plays for the bike challenge idea. I really enjoyed the twist on the challenge and encourage you all to try it out. Maybe even try it on one of your own cities. Can you beat my percentage of cyclists? And one last thing, I didn't stop working on this city after I beat the scenario. I wanted to take it further by creating pedestrian-only neighborhoods and push the number of cyclists even higher. I'll create a short bonus episode to share the results and show off the city. Thanks for watching Boomtown Bikes. Take care, everyone.